Hi guys, I'm Toasted Luck. Today I am talking about what I've observed about the world as a trans lady. I've been a trans lady for 34 years. That is my mid 30s. Something we're gonna skip right by. I didn't realize fully I was trans for many years. It took until I was about my early teens to realize what was happening. I kind of honestly made myself forget, and it didn't crop back up till 1.6 years ago. It kind of just hit me like a huge freight train. I was eating a special type of broccoli, and it just hit me all at once. And it took me a couple extra months to process exactly what the feelings were, even though I knew what they were immediately. And from there, I took 2024 to get my ducks in a row, figure out exactly what being trans meant, as opposed to being a Hispanic male adopted into a white family. What does that suddenly mean as a Hispanic trans woman adopted into a white family? And I learned very quickly a lot of my life was either something that I assumed I was being weird, when I realized there were other folks who actually were not only being weird, but taking advantage of me, or people were a lot meaner to me than I realized. And I was not able to address this at all as a man. This was something I would see, and I would almost just for the simple fact of it was something that I couldn't comprehend or understand. But having come out, having realized who I actually am, I'm able to address a lot more things directly and head on. And so I decided to make a video, and honestly, I think this is for me. I kind of feel like I'm going insane a little bit some days. And I just think some of these observations being recorded and pushed out for my sake, I would really, really like to have some record out there. So if you'd like to come along, cool. And if not, well, I'm still gonna do it anyway. People are extremely shallow. It's not the way you think. A lot of folks are actually incredibly kind, and they'll give you the shirt off their back, especially if you're in the area where I live, which is the northeastern quadrant of this country. So many folks are generous, but their idea of self is wrapped up in boomers. It's a lot of film, a lot of movies like The Godfather.
Godfather, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You can act like a man! What's the matter with you?
And then you have Gen X, who are like that, but they're a little more spread out with their media. They define themselves in their music. Millennials are the first ones that really broke with that. And they're the ones who said, I want to be associated with good vibes. Gen Z, for all their faults of getting a certain presidential candidate elected because of an app that destroys and flattens all nuance because it boils it down into a tiny little thing you can hold in your hand. There'd be no negatives to that. I mean, as somebody who would be embarrassed to show their screen time, I'm in nowhere to talk. So move on from that. Gen Z is the first one that said, I am not putting up with garbage anymore. Millennials were the first one who said, why should we put up with garbage? Gen Z just said, full stop, not putting up with it. And it's been really cool to watch that happen and watch kind of the post. I want to really say, like, TikTok was people's true shout into the void of, hey, I'm an individual and I don't really care. Now, what's funny is everyone says this, but we all have this shallow understanding, myself included, of how things work that is entirely shaped through the 100% viewpoint that is our experience. And that is all that we can see. And so that's a huge problem for a lot of people because they can't see past their own experiences. And some people live incredible, cushy, privileged lives. I mean, it's hard to argue with that person because that's their experience. Their experience is valid, even if that is a silly thing to say. Nevertheless, people's shallow identities aren't just cast on themselves, they're also cast on places as well. And I live in Pennsylvania, and it always cracks me up whenever I hear the phrase, and people from the city always inevitably say it, and they fully believe it. Pennsylvania is two cities, one on either end, and in the middle is Alabama, otherwise known as Pennsyltucky. Now, I definitely agree Pennsyltucky exists. Pennsyltucky also exists in South Philadelphia. There was this one place I walked into, and this was before I was fully out, but I had my gay pins on. One of them literally said, I'm gay. So I walk into this restaurant, and there were a lot, and I just want to say a lot, of Virgin Marys everywhere. The food was really good. I really liked it. And again, these people were actually nice to me, but one of their customers gave me a look that I will never forget. So, Toasted, tell me what the look is in the first place. Well, Sharko, I could actually tell you the look looks like what your face is making right now. And it's extremely triggering. So, as you can see, my hand is currently shaking right now because I've had that look in some dangerous, dangerous places. Now, it literally looks like an apex predator is staring at you. It's pretty unpleasant. And it gets quite surreal when an entire establishment, like a bar or restaurant, is all taking turns looking at you while you're just trying to enjoy a meal. But I'm realizing that that comes everywhere, and there are just some people out there who really, if you don't fit a certain bubble, they would rather you be dead than have to create a new category in their brain. Let's try to end this video on a positive note, shall we? I realized that a lot of my problems stemmed from who I perceived myself as. Therefore, I attracted those people who perceived me as somebody who was a loser and somebody who was a man. And so, there were quite a few people in my network who were just like, but you're a man. And I would shrug my shoulders and be like, I'm really not. And so it's one of those things where you have to come to the realization of there are good people everywhere, but you yourself have to choose to be good too. If you don't choose to be good and you say, oh no, I guess I'm just resigned to whatever this is, you're going to be resigned to whatever this is. It's as simple as that. So if you don't see any good people around, maybe try to be a good person. I don't know. I can tell you right now that's not how I live my life. I just try to do the best I can. But I will say, doing the best I can has led me to being, honestly, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. I cannot tell you how relieved I am to be out of the closet and And I feel like I can. I feel like I can spend more time in my world and focus on the things that I care about, like making videos like this. I would have never made videos like this as a man. I would have not wanted to be this vulnerable. I would have needed to make it sleek and added a million transitions, and it would have said nothing. It would have looked cool, but would have said nothing. And I can confidently say I feel like I did say something in this video. And if you feel like I did, I hope you'll give me that like and you'll subscribe. That would be super cool. You can comment below some observations that you have noticed about life just in general. I would love to hear them. I would love to start a conversation.